If you're looking to refine your style and dress better, here are some style lessons to know for 2023. I had a little brainstorming session over my morning coffee today, and I wrote down some of the most impactful style lessons from last year. I'm going to share with you the top 8 today, and I hope that these are useful for your style journey this year. One of my style lessons from this year is that your personal style doesn't have to fit into a neat little box or be captured in one single word. You know, bohemian, modern, girly, these are just not good enough to capture anyone's style. To give you an example, if I had a look through my wardrobe or if I walked into a store, there's a chance that I'll grab a couple of pieces. One of them would be a slinky little dress that's quite feminine. Something else I might grab is an oversized blazer with drop shoulder. And then I also might get something more colorful and playful as well. And based off some of the more outdated things I've read, they would tell you that you kind of needed to decide, you know, which way you were going to go. When in fact, personal style is unique because we combine all of these elements into our unique style. The most helpful thing I've done to try and figure out my personal style is to do this style map. So on my style map over here, I've put together a lot of clothing that I own, but also some clothing that I admire. And I've grouped it into 3 categories, and I'm able to see how different things I like interact with each other. I then use Alison Bornstein's 3-word rule to put all of these pieces into 3 main categories. This more clearly captures my style rather than feeling like I had to give up components of it to fit it into one particular look. This style map can also be seen as overly simplistic, but there's a lot more than just what meets the eye at first. So firstly, when I see how these pieces interact next to each other, I can actually start to see the kind of outfits I'll wear. So that is actually really helpful with this map. On this map, I can see different shapes and fabrics and silhouettes that I'm drawn to. These wrap styles I really love. These higher crew necks are always a classic. I adore an asymmetrical off-the-shoulder look, and this is just a reminder that I want to wear those shapes a bit more. And we've got a lot of shape and proportion details on it as well. On the side, I've got my best colors recommended to me by Color Analysis. So these are some of the tones and colors that I'll pay attention to. Some of these styles were also recommended to me using the Kibi body typing system, where I was typed to be soft natural. There's really so much to dissect on my mood board, and I think it captures so many areas of my own style. So if you're looking to find your style, if you're looking to bridge together all of the things that you like, a style map is something that I highly recommend doing. One of the style lessons I learned is that if you purchase well, you don't have to replace things all the time. So this seems like obvious advice, but I've seen it with my own eyes in my own wardrobe this year, what a difference purchasing well can make. So purchasing well, I'm usually referring to both quality, but also choosing a cut and fit that is ideal. Taking a quick look at my wardrobe, I've had this for 3 years, this blazer for 2, and these pants for 1. And these are all core staples that I just continue to wear and can't see myself replacing until they wear out. I have a ton of other striped knits, but in all honesty, they're all different weights and colors, and I don't really see them as serving the same function as this one. Not needing to always replace these core pieces can mean that firstly, either you shop less or you spend your budget building up your wardrobe and adding pieces that look different and can offer more versatility than just repurchasing the same things over and over again. So instead of just doing this all the time, you can start to expand your wardrobe, maybe with a belted option that's a bit more drapey. Maybe you can do, a check or tweed version, and we're just expanding out our wardrobe. If you're wondering why is someone just buying these things again and again, I can say that at uni, I often replace things. So with a striped sweater, for example, what I would do is that I'll buy one, I wouldn't pay too much attention, and then, not surprisingly, by the next year, it will be too bubbled up to be reasonable, or it will have completely lost its shape, or I would choose a neckline or shape or fit that wasn't comfortable or wasn't flattering at all. And all of these things I feel like can be fixed with just a little bit more time, properly choose something and compare shapes when I'm in that buying process. It's absolutely no fun to spend money to keep creating the same looks with the different pieces, and instead either we can buy less or we can expand our wardrobe to have more range. I've made an effort to purchase better pieces over the last couple of years, and it's definitely something I want to continue to do for this year. Before I move on to the next lesson, if you're enjoying today's video, you're learning something, I would love for you to go give this video a like down below, and then maybe also consider subscribing if you like this type of content and you'd like to see more. My next style lesson, which I've learned the hard way, is that if you're in between sizes, always size up. This regarding the comfort. Will always look so much better when it has that drape and when it's not caught on certain areas of the body. I'm specifically, in my case, thinking about pants. Oftentimes, if I go a size down, it would mean that I don't have to tailor it, it'll fit better lengthwise, and then it'll fit on the waist. But on the hip, it will always pull a little. And that pull, I think, completely changes the drape of the pant. I wish I had a photo or a video to show you, but it completely alters the shape and look. Sometimes it's subtle and you might not even notice it until, I'm moving or walking, but I have learned this year that if you're in doubt, just size up. I do have to then tailor in the waist, I have to tailor more of the length, but it is worth it because ignoring the fact that it's actually comfortable to wear, it just looks so much better compared to the size down. Often, I know we can also not control it if we're fluctuating between sizes, if the brand sizing isn't wide enough. I guess I'm just saying that when we have the option and choice to size up, a little breathing room will also be more forgiving, and it would just lay over the body in a much more flattering way. A key experiment and lesson for me during this year is trying to understand more about clothing proportions that look good on my frame, and also understanding how shapes and fabric interact with each other. So what I feel like happens to me and to people I know a lot is that they'll know they look really good in an item of clothing. For example, a wrap dress. So because they look good in the one they own, they'll go out buying another wrap dress. But the reason why they look good in the first wrap dress might have been because the fabric is really fluid. It's really drapey, it's really soft, it has this amazing color. And then the second dress we might buy in a slightly different fabric. It's heavier, it's more structured, and it might actually not look as good as we thought it would, because the fabric is different. The cut and the fabric often interact together to create a silhouette that is either really perfect for us or surprisingly not ideal. We've got some shapes here that generally look okay on me, especially if they're in lighter, softer fabrics or fabrics with drape, for example, a viscose. And then if we just take these shapes and we kind of change up the fabric, for example, denim, this will look pretty awful. Even though it's got the same open neckline and puffy sleeve, it goes too far because the shape is so much more structured. Last year, I spent quite a few lunchtime breaks just heading over to my department store and just trying tons of things on, just to kind of understand how it all works. And then also looking at what's in my wardrobe, of course. I've really come to see that proportion-wise, things that are relaxed look best on me. Not quite super oversized and dramatic, not quite skin tight. Somewhere in that middle is a good balance. And I'm a firm believer that really oversized will look fantastic on some people, really fitted will look amazing on others, and we all have that ideal. My best shapes tend to be relaxed blouses like these, often in slightly softer fabrics versus very structured poplin. And this is something that I've really experimented and learned this year. The next style lesson is very much related, and it will actually help us figure out which cuts and fabrics and silhouettes look best on us. So I want to refer to this system created by John Kitchener, and it's all about essences. Style essences, in short, is a system where we repeat with our clothing the natural lines and shapes of our face and body. So if we have striking and powerful features, we might best fit dramatic clothing with long, straight and stiff silhouettes. And then on the opposite side, if we have angelic essence, long flowing styles with fine and delicate textures might feel very harmonious. We all have a particular essence. And the reason why, for example, two people, one person might look really good in tailored, structured items, and one person might look good in these softer, more fluid shapes, is because they have different essence. And this really explains a lot about what works and what doesn't, and why. I have been professionally typed, probably more in the Kibbe system than the Kitchener, but I am meant to be natural. Soft natural in Kibbe, but natural essence here. And this system just gives a guide on what will look the most harmonious on my features, and it helps to explain why things look a certain way on me. I will never follow a system that restricts what I wear into only these things, but using what I've learned here, I can actually make more things work on me with that knowledge. So if I want to wear something really tailored, which is probably more in line with dramatic, I can make it work for me natural, by adding some softer, drapier things around the neckline, or doing a drop shoulder or a softer material, as opposed to something really, really angular and structured. This Kitchener Essence system and then also the Kibi body typing system, I feel like are all really, really great tools in allowing us to understand what works, what doesn't, why, and then we can kind of use what we learn to make different clothing work for us by incorporating things that do look our best and the most harmonious. A style lesson I learned this year is how to better dupe luxury pieces. I've always been into finding dupes of more luxury pieces, and look, it's usually not super hard to do, given that fashion kind of trickles down. But this year, I feel like I have gotten better at the process, and just a few weeks ago, I found a dupe for these Tibi trousers that I've had my eye on for the longest time. If I was looking for a dupe of these Tibi pants, what I wouldn't do is search, red trousers on Google, because what I would get are these. And for me, these just absolutely do not fit what I was looking for, because in my head, what I was drawn to was the fact that the red pant was a bold statement piece. I liked how it interacted with some of the more neutral colors in the styling. I liked that it looked really modern and relaxed and effortless, and that's why I loved that pant. If I purchase any of these pants, it really doesn't fit the requirement of what I originally liked about the Tibi ones. So instead, I will be paying attention and finding a trouser that had that effortless feeling above anything else. Even if I couldn't find the red pair I found, which by the way had the elastic waistband, the more relaxed feeling, even if it was blue, I would still think that it's a better dupe than any of the red trousers because it fulfills what I was originally looking for. It's a bright, bold pop of color, it looks really nice with some of the neutral tones, it has that effortless, relaxed quality, and that is actually a better dupe than any of the red trousers. Another example that comes to mind is duping the Max Mara coats with the curated. They don't necessarily look very similar. I mean, they're both coats and long, but what I was drawn to in the Max Mara coat is definitely the quality. And then the curated was one of the highest quality coats I could find. So I felt like that would be the closest to what I was looking for versus a bunch of coats out there which may have that button design and straight fit. And you kind of see duping for me is all about figuring out exactly what you're hoping to get from it, the vibe that it creates, and then duping that versus the actual specifications and design of the item. Unless, of course, that was the thing that you were drawn to. Next style lesson is appreciating unique and statement pieces. They are the unsung heroes of our wardrobe, and without them, I would have zero personal style. If you only had the basics in my wardrobe and you opened it, that closet or that wardrobe could be anyone's. That person could be edgy, they could be very modern, they could be quite feminine, we just don't know. What brings those pieces alive for me are my unique and statement pieces. I spend a lot more time looking for those special and unique pieces compared to basics. I can find pretty good basics, so I'm kind of referring to this type of thing, at a lot of places. But coming across a blouse I love or a coat that I think is amazing takes a lot more searching and a lot more effort. I have a Tibi coat, which is one of my most treasured, loved pieces, and it's in khaki with some turquoise. The color palette is stunning, the shape is perfect, in a really cool and dramatic way, and I love wearing this as much today as I did that very first time. So I know that statement pieces can be long lasting. They don't have to be trendy or seasonal or anything like that. And I just feel like they're a little bit underappreciated compared to basics and classic items. I really love following Trini and also Karen, who show their really amazing statement pieces. It's just exciting to see wardrobes that aren't completely minimal or completely classic. I've gone on a little bit of a tangent as usual, but basically, I'm here to say that if you find the right statement pieces that suit your style, something like this blouse for me or that amazing coat, you can wear it in so many ways and it can be in your wardrobe for a very long time, similar to basic pieces. If I take this blouse for example and I style it with some of my most worn basics, we can get so many outfit combinations. Same thing with the coat, here are some outfits I would create. I love all of these because we've got that statement piece to make them more exciting. My final lesson, and I've talked about this recently a lot, and then also during the year, is getting my color analysis done. The lesson of learning what my best colors are, I will always appreciate doing. Without getting my color analysis done, I honestly had some doubts. And I feel like I also confuse a lot of people. A lot of people feel like because I can wear some cool colors that I might be cool. And then some people also feel like I'm warmer than I am. And I'm kind of warm, but just slightly over neutral. And I believe I also have just very slightly olive skin tone as well. I've shown these before, but these are some of my best colors based on my skin tone. These are some of my best colors based on my soft features, because finding your best colors kind of depends on what you want to focus on. My contrast is quite high. I'm quite fair skinned. I have very dark features and hair in comparison to my skin. And then I look best in medium to dark colors. So my recommendation for you is to look at one of two systems. I personally really like the artistic license system created by Merriam. You can either be one of 4 categories: cool and radiant, cool and delicate, warm and delicate, warm and radiant. I'm warm and delicate, and all of the color recommendations make a lot of sense to me. The system is based mostly on skin tones versus taking into account hair and eye color. The more popular system is probably the seasonal color analysis, where you've got your seasons and then brights and deeps within the category. There are again so many quizzes and resources that you can use to find which one you are. And then the most important step, once you find what you are, is to go into a department store and basically pull out all of your best colors and worst colors and then try it for yourself. If it's a recommendation given to you, but you don't actually look good in the colors, then something probably went wrong during the process. So I feel like confirming the results is probably the most important part for me. And then also seeing whether I like them on myself. For reference, I did a Merriam color analysis online. I've also done an in-person color analysis. Both results were similar, so I know that they were both, kind of correct. What I liked about Merriam's system over my in-person one was that she was very specific, and she helped me understand why certain colors in my palette look good and why certain colors don't. Getting my color analysis done will always be one of my best lessons, my best decisions, and I strongly recommend doing the quiz to figure out which category you are. Especially with Merriam's system, I feel like it's pretty easy to know which one you are, and she has so many videos that have been ridiculously helpful. Something I appreciate about Merriam, that I appreciate about anyone who focuses on these typing systems, is that she recognizes it doesn't mean that we only wear our best colors. It just means that we might wear them more often, and then when we're wearing one of our okay or average colors, we can use our best colors to improve it, and she's more open to the approach. Whereas my other analysis was more focused on formulas, and then which color top to wear with which color pants and what color shoes, and it was too rigid. So that's another reason why I have been talking a lot about Merriam. I like her whole approach to color. Those were my A-style lessons from 2022. I hope that you found something useful, and if you did, I would love for you to go give this video a like and consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, I make a lot of similar videos to this over on my channel, and you might like some of these over here. Have a great week, and I'll see you next one.